Hello, Aries. If you're hearing this right now, it's not a coincidence. Something in your energy is awakening. A door is opening between what was and what's about to begin, between everything you've been waiting for and what's finally being placed in your hands. Lately, you might have felt yourself standing at a strange threshold, not completely lost, yet not entirely found. As if an invisible hand has been quietly rearranging your world, pausing you gently so you could hear something deeper. The quiet call of destiny. There comes a moment in life, Aries, when everything suddenly goes still. No more noise, no more pressure from time itself, only you and the quiet space between two breaths. In that stillness, something sacred stirs, as if the universe gently places a hand on your shoulder and whispers, "It's time." You don't have to run anymore. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to ask, when, because the answer is already being written. Through your own energy, within the calmest flame of your patience. All those years that felt lost were never wasted. They were shaping your spirit, teaching your courage to soften, to mature. Every drop of sweat, every failure, every night you stared at the ceiling asking, "Am I on the right path?" They were carving your name onto the sacred map of awakening. The universe never forgets a heart that gives its all. It only waits until your energy becomes pure enough to receive the blessings you once prayed for. And now, in this very moment, as Mars, your planet of fire and action, aligns with the expansive power of Jupiter, you are allowed to exhale, to release, and to be ready. This is no longer a race. It's the season of your return, not to conquer, but to receive. Sometimes what we call delay is just the universe, adjusting the rhythm, slowing your steps so the miracle can arrive on time. You were never left behind, Aries. You are being held, kept safe in the arms of destiny, so that when the door finally opens, you'll walk through it with grace instead of fear. You are the first flame of the zodiac, the spark that begins everything. But even fire must learn when to pause, to keep its light alive. There are moments when the greatest act of power is to allow. When you stop trying to control, energy starts to move. When you stop holding on, the current begins to flow. And when you choose trust, everything begins to bloom, quietly. Life has never followed the clock of man. It follows the heartbeat of the soul. Your dreams haven't vanished. They're just finding the right frequency to return to you. If you listen closely, you might already feel the first signal vibrating, a thin, warm beam of light. A sudden calm with no explanation, a small coincidence that makes you smile. That's the whisper of the universe, the first sign that you've entered the season of receiving. And when you begin to slow down, when the fire in your heart no longer burns, but starts to glow, every sign of what's coming will quietly find its way back to you. This is the stage where energy moves like breath, gentle, invisible, yet alive. If you close your eyes right now, you might feel it, a soft motion, subtle as wind brushing past your ear. It's not hurried, it's not loud, but it's real, and it's growing just like the light of dawn streaming through a narrow window, touching every cell of your soul. Inside every Aries, there are always two rivers of energy flowing side by side, one of action and one of feeling. You've always known how to move forward, to reach for what you want with effort, with speed, with that fiery determination that refuses to rest. But now, the universe is inviting you to pause. Gently, like sitting down in the middle of the wind and realizing that every true movement begins in silence. Before a miracle arrives, the world always sends signs, not loud ones but quiet rhythms hidden within ordinary days. A leaf falling at the exact moment you look up. A number repeating itself, 1111, 333, 888, until you can't ignore it anymore. A sudden peace settling into your heart in the middle of exhaustion. These are not coincidences. They are whispers from the universe, knocking softly at the door of your intuition. Those numbers, those synchronicities, are energy codes, signals that the flow has begun. Everything you once planted, your prayers, your dreams, your persistence, is finding its way back to you, but it won't return with noise or fireworks. It comes as gentle ripples, just strong enough to move the heart of someone who's learned how to listen. To receive abundance, you don't need to make noise. You only need to stay quiet long enough to hear the sound of life shifting around you. Abundance doesn't arrive with fanfare. It comes in that one brief moment when you realize you're no longer missing anything, even if only for a second. Aries, you've spent your life conquering, but perhaps what the universe is teaching you now is stillness. Because in stillness, your fire glows brighter, not to burn, but to illuminate. When you stop trying to control, energy begins to move on its own. When you stop asking, when, the things you long for begin to approach. The universe doesn't need you to chase it, only to be calm enough to notice it's been beside you all along. You may feel something strange within a pull to move forward and a longing to rest. That's the sign that your energy is being rebuilt. One part of you wants to act, the other wants to surrender. Let both exist. Because right at that border between doing and allowing, miracles are born. That's where willpower meets faith, where action blends with intuition. And in that quiet space between two heartbeats, a soft message arrives. You don't have to do more, just believe. When you truly believe, your body begins to respond. You might feel a warm light passing through your chest, a gentle heat in your hands, or an urge to smile for no reason. That is energy moving, not something you see, but something you feel. That's when you realize the miracle was never in what happened, but in how your heart opened to receive it. Nothing is random. Every number, every meeting, every fleeting emotion, they're all tiny notes in the grand symphony of destiny. And in that music, you're no longer just the listener, you are the melody itself. So slow down, Aries. Let the small things lead you, a faint light at the edge of the horizon, a calm you can't explain, or a simple pull to begin again. They are invitations to step into a sacred space where your energy meets the divine plan. Like dawn when the sun hasn't yet risen, but its light already touches the water, everything is in the moment of becoming. And, in that golden stillness, the miracle is taking shape. Not loud, not rushed, just drawing closer. And as that warmth spreads through you, a new feeling begins to rise, clear, powerful, and full of promise. It's leading you toward the moment when faith meets action, where your flame is no longer a prayer, but a living force of creation. Sometimes in life, we wait so long that we forget what it feels like to be carried effortlessly by the flow. And then one day, in the middle of all the repetition, something small begins to move. A message arrives at the perfect moment. An email finally replies after months of silence. A payment once delayed suddenly clears. And in that instant, you realize everything is moving again. That moment, Aries, is not a coincidence. It's the exact point where your action, your faith, and divine timing meet an invisible intersection, where persistence stops being a test and becomes a reward. This first miracle doesn't always look like money or success. It's a confirmation that the universe has been listening all along. Every quiet effort, every patient step, every time you kept going when no one saw you, is now returning as a soft, steady current carrying you forward. You may have thought you needed to do more, run faster, push harder, prove louder. But the truth is, miracles don't require force. They require clarity. Just like still water that mirrors the sky, when your heart is calm, the energy you send out becomes pure and the universe finally responds. As a wanderer on the path of light, I've seen this countless times. Souls who release their urgency, choose trust, and then what they longed for arrives quietly. The universe doesn't reward those who do the most. It rewards those who move in harmony, not at the right pace, but at the right time. And you, Aries, are entering that time now. You might even feel it within your body, a warm current through your hands, a bella, deeper, easier breath. That's alignment. Your actions are no longer driven by fear, but by trust. And when trust leads, effort becomes graceful. Everything begins to work with you, not against you. Some people spend their whole lives chasing opportunities, while others simply stand still and opportunities find them. The difference is energy. When doubt fills you, doors close. When faith fills you, space opens. Faith isn't waiting for the result, it's knowing the result has already been written. Aries, remember your strength doesn't come from never getting tired. It comes from the ability to pause and still believe that your fire has never gone out. The universe always walks beside those who guard that flame, even when it's just a small ember in the dark. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet road after the rain. The ground is still wet, the sky still gray, but the first light of dawn begins to rise. Not bright enough to blind you, just enough to let you know a new day has begun. The world around you is still, but something inside you starts to move steady, clear, alive. Soon, something will click. A project will move forward, a conversation will open a new door, or maybe you'll simply feel it that everything is finally aligning. When that happens, take a breath, pause, and whisper to yourself, "I'm ready, I'm being guided." Because this miracle isn't here to prove that you can. It's here to remind you that you are worthy of ease, of flow, of the rewards that have been waiting for you all along. And as the first wave begins to carry you, you'll feel something else, like an old energy returning from afar. Something you once gave, a kindness, a word, a helping hand, now finding its way back to you, carrying a blessing you never expected. Like the tide pulling back, only to return fuller than before. The energy you once sent into the world is coming home, and this time it brings abundance with it. Some gifts in life don't come wrapped in paper or tied with ribbons. They're sent quietly from one heart to another. And one day, long after you've forgotten what you gave, that gift finds its way back to you, through a familiar face, a familiar voice, or a door you once thought had closed forever. Aries, this second miracle doesn't take the shape of money, it takes the shape of a person. Someone who appears softly, almost by chance, as if they're just passing through your life. But behind their arrival lies the gentle precision of divine timing. It might be someone who once walked beside you through a difficult time, or someone you helped, believed in, or protected without asking for anything in return. Now they return, carrying the energy you once sent out, wrapped in the form of a new opportunity, a partnership, a project, a conversation that seems ordinary, but opens a completely new direction. Because every act of kindness has its own memory. The universe never forgets. It stores every moment of your goodness in what I like to call the vault of light, a sacred space where what was once given with love is kept safe until it's time to return as grace. You've given before when all you had left was faith. You've helped others without expecting gratitude. You've stood beside people in their darkness, even when no one saw you. And though those moments seemed to fade into time, they didn't disappear, they became a current, flowing quietly back to you now, not loud, not grand, but steady as truth itself. What's born from love never gets lost. You may notice its return through a message, a phone call, or just a moment, a look that warms your chest and makes you feel safe again. But what matters isn't who brings the gift, it's what energy brought them to you. That energy is called the return, not repayment but restoration, like the ocean tide that pulls back only to rush home again, like a raindrop that falls, becomes part of the earth, then rises as a cloud. Everything you've ever given is now on its way back, carrying the seeds of the blessings you planted long ago. This is the miracle of positive karma. It doesn't arrive through effort, it arrives through frequency. When your energy is pure, you don't need to chase or demand. The right people, the right opportunities, they find you because they recognize your light even if you never call their name. Aries, the lesson here isn't about receiving, it's about realizing. Realizing you never truly lost anything. Realizing that giving isn't sacrifice, it's the act of building invisible bridges between your soul and what you desire most. Realizing that in every delay, there's a higher hand arranging the perfect timing. Maybe you've asked before, why do I give so much and no one gives back? But the answer was never far from you. The universe isn't unjust, it's patient, it waits. Until your heart is strong enough to understand that the most precious things need time to ripen. And now, the fruit is nearly ready. So receive it not with surprise, but with gratitude. Because this isn't luck, it's the law of light. When you shine for others, you illuminate your own path too. And who knows, the person bringing this miracle to you today might just be you from another lifetime, or an older version of yourself who once had the courage to plant a seed in the dark. When you understand this, your heart softens, the resentment fades, the regret dissolves. What remains is quiet gratitude for every small, unseen act that once came from love, and a peaceful knowing that every loss you've ever faced was never punishment. It was preparation for the sacred justice that is now finding its way home to you. There are quiet stretches in life when it feels like the universe has gone silent for too long. The days when you keep doing the right thing without complaint quietly showing up, giving, loving, enduring, and yet nothing seems to change. You help, you forgive, you stay kind, until all that's left is exhaustion and that quiet question inside. Is anyone even seeing me? But Aries, the universe has never closed its eyes. It has seen everything every time you chose kindness over revenge. Every night you stayed silent instead of bitter. Every morning you smiled even when your heart was breaking. All of it has been recorded by Saturn, the planet of karma and divine justice. And now, that energy is being unlocked. This first miracle doesn't arrive as luck, it arrives as balance. When justice meets grace, the energy that once stood still begins to move again. You'll feel it not in numbers or bank accounts, but in something deeper, your heart feeling lighter, your breath easier, your mind no longer forcing itself to try. That's the touch of sacred restoration. When good karma blooms, it doesn't announce itself with noise. It comes quietly in a normal morning, as you pour your coffee and feel an unexpected calm, or through a small message, a gentle offer, an opportunity that fits perfectly with a dream you once had. I still remember the words of a wise teacher. The universe is never late. It simply waits for us to finish the lesson first. And when the lesson is complete, everything that was delayed flows back like rivers meeting the sea. Aries, you've walked through the season of endurance, and now the universe wants you to understand this divine justice is not revenge, it's restoration. It doesn't give you the chance to win over others. It gives you peace after understanding the meaning behind the pain. True wealth isn't about what you own, it's the peace that comes when nothing can be taken from you anymore. When your heart stops hurting, your energy clears, and that's when abundance begins to flow again. Maybe it shows up as a new contract, an old payment returning, or an opportunity you never expected. But the real miracle isn't material. It's the knowing that everything is finally back where it belongs. If you pay attention, you'll notice it. You're sleeping better, laughing easier, working with joy instead of strain. That's the touch of cosmic balance. It teaches us that sometimes rewards don't come as more, but as what's returned. Returned time, returned confidence, returned faith in goodness. Pause for a moment and look back at your path. Every failure, every rejection, every tear, all of it has shaped who you are now. Not one moment was wasted. The universe has been gathering those fragments to form a masterpiece, a picture where you're no longer the victim, but the creator of your own destiny. This is Saturn's quiet miracle. It never gives easy gifts. But when it finally does, they last forever. They don't arrive to make you happy for a day. They come to make you wiser for life. And maybe, Aries, the deepest truth you've learned through all of this is that the universe was never cruel. It simply moves at its own rhythm, slow enough for you to understand, deep enough for you to turn pain into wisdom. Now, as justice meets grace, you no longer have to strive for recognition. The light within you has grown so strong that the universe itself must reflect it back. And in that soft moment, when your heart feels weightless, smile, because that's how you'll know the second miracle is drawing near. It doesn't look like work or wealth. It carries the vibration of love, connection, and divine flow, quietly unfolding, waiting for you to step in. There are moments in life that feel like chance encounters, but in truth, they were written into your destiny long ago. We often expect miracles to arrive through grand events, big turning points, unmistakable signs. But sometimes, a miracle begins with nothing more than a glance, a single word. A moment so small you almost miss that the universe just sent someone to change the direction of your life. Aries, this is a time when love and opportunity intersect. Not just romantic love, but the pure energy of connection itself, between one soul and another, between your spirit and the world. You may meet someone new, or reconnect with someone from your past, a person who carries a different vibration, softer, brighter, filled with inspiration. They might not make promises, they might not speak much, but their presence feels like that first summer wind, gentle enough to make you stop, yet strong enough to shift the fire inside you. This is the kind of energy the universe only sends when you're ready, when your heart no longer searches out of fear, but opens out of gratitude. You may notice it through a single conversation that wakes something within you, or through an exchange of eyes that reminds you who you were before the world told you to be someone else. Sometimes they come only to remind you that you can still believe in something beautiful, that not everyone is here to hurt you. Some people are sent only to show you that you deserve to be loved in peace. In this current of energy, love takes many shapes. It's not limited to romance. It's love for life, for your mission, for your work, and for yourself. And when love begins to flow in, your creativity and abundance awaken too, because money, just like love, only flows where there is joy and genuine connection. I once heard a teacher say, money doesn't come from effort, it comes from relationship. And the truest relationships are born from love. Aries, you've always been the spark, the starter, the flame that begins it all. But now, your fire is being invited to learn something new, to know when to burn and when to simply glow. Because in warmth, you no longer scorch everything in your path. You begin to light the world around you. That's when you'll see. The person bringing opportunity to your door isn't a stranger. They are the reflection of all the love you've ever shared. They are the mirror of your own light. And that's why this meeting isn't just destiny. It's reward. Maybe they'll bring an idea that keeps you awake all night in inspiration. Maybe they'll open a new path in your work. Or maybe they'll simply remind you why you began to live, to create, to love. The lesson here is simple, yet profound. Every miracle is a person. Each soul that enters your life carries a key, not to unlock their world, but to unlock something within you. A door you once sealed shut, where your faith was hidden, where your dreams were sleeping, where your heart quietly waited to be free again. And once you open that door, everything begins to move. You'll see love doesn't take your freedom away. It returns it to its truest form. Freedom in connection, freedom in love, freedom in being yourself. The universe never wanted you to be alone. It only wanted you to be strong enough to meet the right one. Not someone who saves you, but someone who walks beside you in the light. And when two kindred souls finally meet, the energy around them shifts. The entire field work flows more easily. Ideas become clearer, and abundance begins to move naturally toward them. So, Aries, open your heart to this connection. Don't fear it. Don't overthink it. Don't analyze it to death. Just feel it. Because if you notice the light inside you grow a little brighter when they're near, that's your sign. The universe has just placed a miracle in your hand. And when your heart begins to expand, when you stop working just to survive and start living to love, a new door will slowly open before you, a doorway not just to love or abundance, but to rebirth itself. Deeper, fuller, and more radiant than you have ever been. There are moments in life that arrive without warning. No signs, no storms, no fanfare. You simply wake one morning and realize something has changed. The light feels clearer. The wind sounds deeper as it passes through the window. And inside you, that old tug of war between wanting and fearing, between pushing forward and giving up, suddenly goes quiet. A new space opens soft and wide like the first breath after a long storm. Aries, this isn't just a moment of prosperity. This is rebirth. Not the beginning of something new, but the return of you whole, wise, and freer than ever before. Every pain you've carried, every loss you've endured, they're no longer wounds. They've become constellations, small stars lighting your path through the dark. Everything that once broke you is now illumination. Because no experience was ever wasted, not even sorrow. It was fire shaping steel, making you shine without the fear of burning again. When your soul reaches this stage, the energy of old karma dissolves. There's no one left to prove yourself to. Nothing left to chase. Because you finally see you don't need to run toward the light, you are the light. The fire of Aries once burned fiercely powerful, restless, consuming. But now that fire has learned how to glow. No longer heat that scorches, but warmth that heals. This is the turning point of a soul that leads others home. You no longer crave to win. You crave to understand. You no longer seek to conquer, you seek to create meaning. And the universe, in its infinite kindness, reflects that back to you through opportunities, through love, through peace. Because when you recognize your true worth, you stop asking for permission to live fully. You simply live, and the world rearranges itself to match that energy. I know, at times, this path has felt lonely. Even in a crowd, you've felt different, like walking a road no one else could see. But remember, Aries, you weren't born to blend in. You were born to shine. Your solitude is not punishment. It's space, the sacred gap through which your light can pass. And as you begin to understand this, old dreams start to return. Not as desires of the ego, but as invitations from your soul. Everything that once paused is moving again. The projects left unfinished, the relationships once broken, the faith that had cooled all of it is awakening with you. You no longer need to strain to be great. You only need to walk with a true heart. Because authenticity, that quiet truth within you, is the strongest energy in the universe. It makes you magnetic to everything aligned with your purpose, love, opportunity, miracles. This third miracle, the miracle of purpose, doesn't come for you to receive more. It comes for you to become the source from which others receive. Like a river, the more it gives, the fuller it becomes. Like the sun, the more it shines, the brighter it's reflected. This is the moment you realize that abundance isn't about having more. It's about knowing who you are when you have nothing. Aries, you've walked through enough loss to learn courage, enough pain to understand compassion, and enough silence to hear the whisper of your calling. Now, step forward not as the seeker, but as the guide. Not as the one waiting for miracles, but as the miracle itself. And when you smile, not because something new has arrived, but because you know everything is exactly where it should be, you'll feel it. A gentle warmth spreading through your body, a quiet peace unfurling in your chest. It's your soul whispering, softly, "We're home now." Take a moment to pause, Aries. In the rush of life, in the noise of the world, just one deep breath to remember how far you've already come. Every delay, every scar, every moment you thought you couldn't go on, none of it was wasted. Each one has shaped you into a soul that loves more deeply, trusts more freely, and smiles even before seeing the outcome. The 3 miracles the universe has sent you, they're not here to fill your pockets, they're here to fill your heart. Because true wealth isn't measured by how much you have, but by how much peace you feel when you open yourself to life. Thank you for listening, for believing, for allowing yourself to heal. May your November unfold gently, like morning light over still water, and may each new day greet you with gratitude, with peace, and with quiet, steady blessings.